Call of Duty Black Ops 7 brings back the chaotic fun we all love, and this time the score streaks are absolutely wild. You've got everything from laser-accurate railguns that shoot through walls to swarms of heat-seeking drones that hunt players down like it's their full-time job. And honestly, nothing hits harder than calling in a streak and instantly feeling like you just flipped the match in your favor. It's that perfect mix of power, style, and pure multiplayer madness. But let's be real. These score streaks are a dream when you're the one using them, and a total nightmare when you're the one getting deleted across the map by a robotic attack dog you didn't even hear coming. Black Ops 7 definitely turned the dial up on how ridiculous and fun these streaks can get, and today we're taking a look at the strongest, the most chaotic, and the ones that will make you feel unstoppable once you earn them. Let's get into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The hand cannon in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is one of those score streaks that immediately makes everyone in the lobby sit up a little straighter. It is essentially a portable delete button. If you land a shot, the target is gone instantly, no questions asked. But that power comes with a bit of responsibility, because you cannot just run around and spam it. It demands timing, patience, and the confidence to line up that perfect shot when the moment comes. Now, the tricky part is what happens after you call it in. If you get eliminated, that is it. Your hand cannon is gone until you earn it again. That alone keeps it out of the absolute top tier, because the risk is always there. Still, when you are on a rhythm and your positioning is good, this score streak can swing entire fights. There is something uniquely satisfying about locking down an angle and daring anyone to peek at you. And the best part is that it only costs 800 score, which is surprisingly low for something with this level of impact. It is cheaper than a Hellstorm missile and pairs really well with its overclocks, which add even more utility during extended fights. If you want a score streak that rewards precision, smart plays, and a little bit of swagger, the hand cannon is exactly that. It is one of those tools that makes you feel unstoppable when you are dialed in. And even when you are not, it is always fun to pull out. The D.A.W.G in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is the kind of score streak that makes every player in the lobby suddenly check their corners twice. It is a massive mechanical beast that prowls the map with one very simple purpose: find a target and tear them apart with relentless gunfire. What makes it fun to watch and even more fun to call in is how long it stays active. Even without the large battery overclock, this machine keeps moving and keeps eliminating enemies for far longer than you would expect. Of course, it is not all perfect. The big weakness of the D.A.W.G is that it loses a lot of its punch when players equip the Cold-Blooded perk. And since Cold-Blooded unlocks early at rank 17, you will run into plenty of matches where multiple enemies are using it. In those lobbies, the D.A.W.G starts to feel like an oversized metal pet that forgot what it was supposed to do. It is still intimidating, but the effectiveness drops noticeably. That being said, when the enemy team is not fully prepared, this score streak is an absolute menace. It can easily rack up eliminations on small and medium-sized maps, and its presence alone forces enemies to reposition and break their rhythm. Even with that one clear counter, the D.A.W.G remains worth calling in far more often than not. When it works, it really works, and watching it clean up the battlefield never gets old. The UAV in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is one of those score streaks that never goes out of style. It is simple, it is reliable, and it costs only 500 score, which means you can earn it almost by accident during a decent life. Once it is in the air, you and your team get instant access to enemy positions on the minimap, and that alone can shift the entire flow of a match. It is the classic example of a small investment with a huge payoff. What makes the UAV especially strong early on is the timing of its counter. The Ghost perk, which hides players from the UAV, does not unlock until rank 32. That means you will constantly find yourself in lobbies where a good chunk of the enemy team is completely exposed. Whether you are playing against new players or early prestige levels, you can really lean on the UAV to control the pace of every engagement. Even when players start running Ghost, or decide to shoot it down the second it appears, the UAV still remains one of the best score streaks in the entire series. It has no gimmicks, no complicated mechanics, just pure information that wins fights. Every squad benefits from having it up as often as possible, and no matter how many new score streaks Call of Duty adds, the UAV continues to earn its place as a must-use tool for anyone who wants a consistent advantage. The Napalm strike in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is one of those score streaks that feels powerful the moment you call it in. It is not just about eliminating enemies with a wall of fire, although it is extremely good at that. The real strength comes from how it forces the enemy team to move exactly where you want them to. When those flames drop across a lane or objective, players have no choice but to reroute, and suddenly you are the one dictating the entire pace of the map. What really pushes the Napalm strike to another level is its overclocks. You can extend the duration of the flames on the battlefield or extend the radar scan that comes with it, letting you see enemy movement more clearly before you commit to a strike. That combination of information and raw damage turns the Napalm strike into both an offensive and strategic tool. It is one of the few score streaks that feels just as good for map control as it does for pure elimination power. And the best part is that it only costs 700 score. For something that can wipe a lane clean and lock down an objective for several seconds, that is an incredible deal. It fits easily into almost any loadout and works on nearly every map size. The Napalm strike is the definition of underrated, and anyone who ignores it is missing out on one of the most consistently strong options in the entire score streak lineup. The Rhino in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is the kind of score streak that instantly changes the energy of a match the moment it stomps onto the battlefield. You take direct control of a towering, heavily armored robotic soldier armed with a minigun that practically melts anything in front of it. It feels unstoppable, not just because of its raw firepower, but because it can absorb an absurd amount of damage before anyone even comes close to taking it down. When the Rhino shows up, everyone notices. What makes it even more intimidating is its sonar pulse overdrive, which pings enemies on the minimap as you move. Suddenly, you are not just a brute force wrecking machine, you are a walking detection system. You always know where your opponents are hiding, flanking, or trying to escape. The combination of heavy weaponry, thick armor, and consistent detection turns the Rhino into something that feels straight out of a science fiction action film, and you are the star of it. Yes, the price tag is steep at 1,250 score, but once you get your hands on it, the cost makes perfect sense. The Rhino delivers results every single time it hits the map. If you are playing well enough to earn it, you are already dominating, and the Rhino pushes that dominance into overdrive. It is one of the most potent score streaks you can bring into a match, and when you are inside that armor, the battlefield is yours to command. The Gravemaker in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 feels like the developers handed you a fully approved set of illegal modifications and said, "Go have fun." The moment you activate it, you are equipped with a monstrous sniper rifle that deletes enemies with a single shot, no matter where they are hiding. Walls, cars, buildings, cover spots that are supposed to be safe. None of it matters. If the Gravemaker marks a target, that target is leaving the map whether they like it or not. What makes this score streak so wild is how it practically turns the entire battlefield into your personal shooting gallery. You can track enemy players straight through structures and fire directly through whatever stands between you and your shot. It genuinely feels like you are playing with a modded weapon that bends the rules in your favor. Players who rely on ducking behind doors, walls, or props will quickly realize that none of their habits matter anymore. And the craziest part is that you only need 1,000 score to earn it. That alone would already make the Gravemaker an incredible value. But the fact that you can extend its magazine with an overclock pushes it into complete madness. It is powerful, it is unfair in the best possible way, and it absolutely deserves to be ranked far higher than most players expect. When you call in the Gravemaker, you take control of the lobby, period. The Legion in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is one of those score streaks that makes the entire match feel like a disaster movie the moment it activates. When you call it in, the sky fills with swarms of heat-seeking drones that dive bomb the enemy team and explode on contact. It turns the battlefield into pure chaos in the best possible way. If you are already playing well, Legion takes that momentum and skyrockets your elimination count even higher. Of course, it does have one very clear weakness, and that is the Cold-Blooded perk. Anyone running Cold-Blooded becomes completely invisible to the Legion drones, meaning they will not be targeted at all. It sounds like a huge drawback, and technically it is, but even then, the score streak is too powerful to ignore. Legion is such an overwhelming presence that even if a portion of the lobby is protected, the rest of the players are still in serious trouble. And yes, the requirement is steep at 1,500 score, but honestly, the payoff makes it worth every point. When you call in Legion, there is no reality where it feels underwhelming. The drones still find plenty of targets, still rack up eliminations, and still force the enemy team to panic and scatter. It is flashy, it is destructive, and it absolutely earns its place near the top of any score streak ranking. The VTOL warship in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is the definition of total domination. When you call this thing in, you are not just turning the tide of a match, you are ending it. You take control of a massive aerial gunship, glide across the sky, and unleash an endless stream of bullets and missiles onto anything unlucky enough to be marked on your screen. The kill feed practically becomes a personal highlight reel, and the enemy team is left wondering why they even bothered to queue up. What truly sets the VTOL warship apart from every other score streak is how even the Cold-Blooded perk cannot fully shut it down. Sure, players who run it might be slightly harder to see, but they are still visible enough that you can track them across the map and rain destruction on them anyway. Their perk might buy them half a second of confusion, but ultimately, you are still the one holding the firepower, and they are the ones sprinting for their lives. And to top it all off, the overclocks for the VTOL warship are absolutely outstanding. They push an already terrifying score streak into complete overkill. It is powerful, versatile, consistent, and impossible for the enemy team to ignore. This is the pinnacle of score streak design in Black Ops 7. When you have the VTOL warship in the sky, you are not just winning, you are making a statement, and there is not a single score streak that comes close to matching it. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.